Welcome to the High Queen podcast.
Prepare to embark on a journey through books you'll fall in love with, as well as the leading ladies who inspire our own stories.
Our friendship blossomed from pageantry to page turners, sparking a desire to show other women that they too can be their own main character.
I'm Miranda.
And I'm Autumn.
And together we'll lead you through books of all genres, from epic fantasy series, romance, all levels of spice, even to autobiographies of real life heroines.
Now, we are some passionate bitches. So remember, this podcast is rated R, and prepare your ears. It's time to celebrate the heroines who redefine what it means to be brave and bold.
So grab your books, beverage, and bestie, and let's crack open that book to page 1. But let's check in with each other before we dive on into A Court of Wings and Ruin. So exciting.
So excited. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Can't wait to dive into this book. So excited to be starting a new one. That's always a fun chapter, so to speak. But I had a really chill week. Yeah. Lots of time this week for me to kind of be at home and organize, which I love to do, but it's like the endless task you never quite finish. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, making headway, super exciting for me. It also allowed a lot of time for me to live in audiobook land because I love to have my headphones on. I've got something playing in my ears while I'm multitasking, doing other things. Like, I love it. Absolutely love it. And so I ended up finishing these 10 chapters for our podcast today. I finished the rest of Iron Flame in the Empyrean series. So
Yay.
you're just keeping it rolling. And I found out that the graphic audio for the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas is being released in April. And we do have that on our future docket to include in the SJM Massverse. So I'm excited for my reread that I'll get to experience it through that avenue. I'm just really looking forward to it. So can't wait, even though I don't think we'll be to Throne of Glass by April. The fact that it's going to be released is really exciting. So
yeah, probably not quite by April, but I will say, guys, we're already on book 3 of A Court of Thorns and Roses series. So if you're trying to think ahead, maybe your bookstore has like a sale or something going on, like just plan for it. Like maybe just pick up,
it's coming.
If not the first one, like I'll do what I did and just get the box set of A Throne of Glass series. It's on the bookshelf back here. It's behind my head. And just do it. Just do it. You'll be happy you did it. I'm happy, and I don't even know what they're about. Yes. Speaking of full sending, on Facebook Marketplace, I've just been getting all of these books, which sometimes, I'm one of those people who I want my books to look very pretty. I don't want them to be damaged, and Facebook Marketplace, they're used. That's okay. We love, passing on a good book. But somebody had posted that they had hardcover copies of Iron Flame and Fourth Wing, or Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Sorry, I don't know which one comes first. And so I picked him up for $30 total. I was so proud of that little find. So they're also on my bookshelf. They're up here for those of you watching.
Wait, did you already have Onyx Storm?
No, is that the first one?
That's the third one.
Okay, I don't have that one yet.
You now own the first and second.
Okay, perfect. And the fourth one, I thought I saw, there's like a little teaser that she's writing. She's worked. I don't know. I saw something.
Oh, yeah. She's currently in the process of starting the fourth one. Yes. So we're all. I don't know
anything about it. I just know there's dragons. Dragons. I want to read it. It's on the shelf.
Girl, if you love Rhysand, you just wait.
Yes. Yeah. Well, speaking of like pointing to books on the shelf and watching us, I believe, as long as I'm doing my job correctly, that you can now listen to us via Podbean. So hi, Podbean listeners. You can also listen and watch us via YouTube. So you could watch us before. Now we're actually on there as a podcast on YouTube. So YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes. So exciting. If there's something else that we're missing and you want to listen there, let me know and I'll try to figure out how to get High Queen on all of the streaming apps.
So exciting.
Yeah, we're working on some guest interviews for the
Mhm.
pod. I'm gonna leave it at that for now, but some guest interviews. So just be on the lookout for what that may mean. I love that you've had a chill week. I'm the opposite. We
Oh,
flip-flopped. This week is insanity, and that's fine. It's all good. That's just life sometimes. I get to be in a fashion show this weekend. Um,
ooh.
so that'll be fun. A little bridal fashion show.
Listen, we
Yeah.
love a good gown.
Oh, I know. Any opportunity to play dress up, I'll never say no. And then I wanted to ask you, so Josh and I, my husband, we started the new Game of Thrones show, A Night of the
Mm,
Seven Kingdoms. Actually, we
yes.
technically finished it. Um, have you watched that?
How could you finish it? There's still an.
Well, finished what's out. Finished what's out.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
all out.
No, just finished what's out.
So yes, my husband and I also watched that. We were avid Game of Thrones
Yes,
fans.
us too.
We watch all House of Dragon,
So good.
and yes, we're watching this one. Such a different vibe, but so fun. And I feel like it's just now in the most recent episodes starting to like take a little turn into more of what we know of the atmosphere of that world of being a little bit more dark. Whereas up to this point, it's been a little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah, and I knew that going into it, but I think I'm gonna need to watch it again before the rest of the
Mm,
episodes come out because I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bored and like distracted in I
yeah.
think maybe like the first two episodes, and then yeah, when things kind of started to shift a little, I was a little bit more interested, when he's shitting his pants at the very beginning.
There's no pants, baby. He's just shitting.
Well, he's just
There's
shitting.
no
It's straight out
pants.
the asshole. Straight out the asshole. I mean, I laughed. I don't have a problem with that, but I was like,
Ethan and I both are
okay,
like,
what is this show about?
oh,
Yeah, so super intrigued. Super, super intrigued. Yeah, just finished the last episode of the chunk that's out last night. And I was like, ooh, okay, now I'm a little bit more into it, but I feel like I missed stuff at the beginning. So yeah,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
good.
It's
I
and you know
I
what? The
love Game of
episodes are
Thrones.
short, so it's worth a good rewatch. You can do it
Yes.
pretty quickly.
Shorter than I thought they would be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, diving into a different fantasy realm.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was so excited about starting this third book, A Court of Wings and Ruin. And
Mm.
I love getting to play spy with Feyre. She's so clever in these chapters. And funnily enough, she kind of reminds me of like one of the women on Murderers Row in Chicago. Pop, squish, lip shits. That all those ladies. And I'm like, yeah, she's kind of got that same vibe. Like, gonna do what it takes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
consequences be damned. Um, I cannot stand Tamlin in these chapters.
Mm.
There's so many moments of hardcore cringe, ick, disdain that I'm like, gosh, I want to see the good in you. And I'm
Yeah.
really struggling because I gotta believe it's somewhere in there, but
Yeah.
maybe it's gone. I can't come to terms with who he is in these chapters.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if this show is about learning from the heroines, but we can learn from the male characters as well. And maybe Tamlin will teach us that there's still time to grow and still time to change. Y'all know how heated and annoyed I was at the end of the last book. I still am, but I can also take a step back and be like, oh, yeah, maybe he can change, maybe he can grow, maybe he can have a redemption arc. We'll see. This may be, though, my favorite version of Feyre yet. Like
Mm.
I want her life to be sunshine and rainbows with the love of her life. Like, don't get me wrong, but for now, that's not happening. So I can love this. I can love this cunning spy version of her. And I'm like, yes, queen. I'm also so glad to see some redemption from Lucien. And I cannot wait
Mm.
to see what Tamlin does now that his quote unquote possessions have been taken from him because we know how his brain works and Lucien and
Yeah.
Feyre is not in the spring court anymore. So super intrigued. And friends, I have read ACOTAR, I have read ACOMAF, I have read the very beginning of ACOWAR. So this chunk I had read previously. There's like a tiny couple more pages that I have read, and then that's it. I am fresh. I don't know what's going on. I am going to be freaking out in real time. So I'm just preparing you all. I have no idea what's going to be going on.
And I'm just going to be giving sly smiles over here. Like, don't say anything.
Hopefully my theories or my questions are not too stupid or off the wall. But
I don't
before we
think
can even
any
get there,
theory or question is stupid
you're right.
at
You're
all.
right.
Anything that piques your interest, I think, is worth exploring.
Very true. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of piquing interest, exploration, it is time to get into a little bit of a summary. So these first 10 chapters are mine. We open the book with it's not so at the start I was like, open your books to chapter to page 1, and it's like not even page chapter 1 because we get a little bit of a prologue, if you will. So it's Rhysand 2 years before the wall. We open book 3 with a bit of time travel and Rhys's POV once again, and we see aftermath of one of the battles of the Great War. We learn his power has been depleted, that he fought like the mortals did in the end, with swords and fists, using his Illyrian training rather than magic. He held the lines against Ravenia's legions, and I said, who? Who's Ravenia? I haven't heard that name before, so just wanted to put that out there. And Rhys walks through the carnage looking for Cassian and Azriel, because he's seeing Illyrian wings poking through all of this blood and gore, and he's hoping that the dead Illyrians around him are not his brothers. We get a glimpse into what this time was like in Rhys's world, specifically with his POV. But of course, it's just a glimpse, because then we travel back to the present with part 1 of this book, which is Princess of Carrion. So back in Feyre's POV, it's been a few weeks since the end of ACOMAF, and she's painting to keep up the appearance that she's happy and healing from her time with Rhys. Love to see her painting, but it's all a ruse. We love that. Like I said, it's all a show. She's biding her time until she can leave, until she can, quote, burn this manor to the ground too. And this is after she just put a little paintbrush up in flames and took the ash out the window and brought in the smell of roses. And I'm like, God, girl, look at you perfecting these flowers. Yes. But she's like, I'm going to burn it all to the ground. And I said, yeah, fair. You will. We're gonna get into it. In a way, it's happening. So Lucien and Tamlin arrive in this little paint studio to inform Feyre that it's time for a meeting with Ianthe. Now, the reason she is the reason that Feyre and now her sisters are in their unfortunate current positions. Like, yes, it's Tamlin's fault. Yes, it's Hybern's fault. It's Ianthe's fault. Yeah. So she plays her guilt well, and while you, me, Feyre, and Lucien do not believe it, shocker, Tamlin does. He believes her little guilt show. Like, what? Does she got a finger up your butt all the time, Tam? Like, what is going on here? Whatever. So Tamlin actually drops some little nuggets of information here because we're picking them up, right? We need to know what we can share when we head back to the Night Court. So he's told the Spring citizens to move east, leaving us to believe that Hybern will enter through the west. He also says a delegation from Hybern will be arriving with none other than Jurian. They're being sent to examine the wall and determine the best place to tear it down once the cauldron has had a chance to replenish its magic. Feyre sends this information down the mating bond because remember, we still have the mating bond to Rhys. The first time that she's done so since she arrived in the Spring Court, and we learn here that everyone is alive and healing. We don't know what that means, but they're alive and they're healing. Az and Cassian are okay enough. And Nesta and Elaine, sorry. We care about them too.
We're just thinking of the two who's were like almost died.
Right. The one that had a literal bolt through the chest and the other that might have wings. We don't know. All we know is alive and healing. So, yep. But Jurian and the two Hybern commanders, one's a man and one's a woman, which I wanted to highlight because I was like, okay, so Hybern thinks that women can do big things, but Tam Tam can't. Okay, whatever. They winnow into spring, and we learn we
We
learn they
are
are
learn.
we are learn we learn they are Prince Dagden and Prince Branagh. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go Miranda. So Prince Dagden and Prince Branagh, and they are the nephew and niece to the King of Hybern. Also, we get their names. We still don't have his. Interesting. Feyre plays the part of the loving consort, but she also stands up to Jurian's smartass comments. She's not afraid to push back in this time. And this, I feel like, causes Tamlin to be sort of proud of her, like probably like, oh my God, what are you doing? But also kind of proud in a weird way. And then she lets us readers in on her plan. Quote, that was my first step. Make Tamlin truly believe that I loved him and this place and everyone in it, so that he would not suspect when I turned them on each other.
So you thought Tamlin was proud of her?
In that moment, yes. Like, because doesn't it say that he just kind of like looks at her, and usually he like gives her like a growl if he doesn't like what she's done. So
I guess
think
maybe
he likes her standing up to others,
maybe this
not
very,
to
very
him.
first moment, but I really felt like he was just embarrassed by her.
Well, probably that too. Probably that too. I just, I'll
I don't
ask
know.
it a million
He's
times over.
confusing.
Does he really love this woman? Does he?
I
Anyway,
love
I
the
don't know.
idea. Yeah, yeah.
Well, and that's where I was like, maybe there's this like sense of pride for him. I don't know. I don't know. I just that was one of the few times that he didn't like snarl at her
Oh,
for making a
fair,
comment.
fair.
So I was maybe reading between the lines. But we get in on this little plan. We also learn the plan of why the three from Hybern are here. So we learn that Branagh and Dagden and Jurian, sorry, Lucian's in the next line. They're going to go to the wall. And Feyre volunteers. She says she and Lucien will show them the way. We then get lots of back and forth between Feyre and Jurian as they kind of push each other's buttons about Rhysand and Miriam. And while doing so, Feyre actually realizes that this was a distraction so that Dagden and Branagh could try to get past her mental shields, as well as Lucien's and Tamlin's. But she throws up a wall around their minds, shocking our Daemati twins. So we've got three Daemati in this little old spring court.
I really love how the Daemati power is like rare. We're like, here's 4 Fae that have it.
We know quite a handful for the small amount of Fae that we like personally know. We know a lot of people who are Daemati.
I know.
So, yeah, interesting. Well, the next morning they head out for the wall, and the hole in it that they head out for the wall and the first hole, and that is the one that Tamlin originally brought Feyre through more than a year ago, which I just think is interesting. We learn that no one knows who really made these gaps in the wall, but some have just appeared here and there due to powerful people, powerful magic, powerful objects. We get that later. So as the three from Hybern examine the wall and the surrounding area, Lucien and Feyre chat. We get a lot of chatting in these first 10 chapters, but it's like necessary, it gives us a lot of background and a lot of understanding of, the information that Feyre needs to feed to her lover, her mate, her family.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that aspect of these chapters, actually.
I did too. I wasn't mad about it. It's world building, but in a very different way. Lots of conversation, not so much all in the head of Feyre, even though I love when we're in her head too. So Feyre asks what we all want to know, or at least what I want to know. And it's in relation to Lucien's eye. And she says, what do you even see with that thing? Because it's as if it's thinking and, zooming in and whatever as they talk. We've brought this up before, but I love that she finally asked. She's like, what do you even see with that? Interesting. Feyre and Lucien talk a little bit about when she we avoid the word left because she didn't leave. She was kidnapped, taken. So we talk about when she was taken from Spring and how Lucien received word before Tamlin did and raced back to the manor to find her truly gone first. And he even found the melted ring and disposed of it and never told Tam Tam. So
what? Can't wait to get into that.
Interesting. Yes. Then Feyre asks what I think is another great question, so I'm going to give it to you verbatim. Quote, why does Hybern want to do this beyond some horrible desire for conquest? What drives him? His people, hatred, arrogance? And just as Lucien's about to answer, Branna, Dagden, and Jurian return. So we get no answer. And I'm like, why? I want to know too. Like, what is the purpose? What is the motivation? So as they return, these three from Hybern, Jurian notices that Feyre and Lucien are rather close. She's knee to knee beside him. Their faces are kind of close together. She brushed his elbow earlier. He kind of stands in between her and the twins as sort of protection. Again, she's planting seeds of distrust for her plan. Now, as they return to the manor, even Ianthe pays close attention when Lucien grabs Feyre by the waist, helping her off her horse. And as she spins her web of lies, she falters for a moment with Lucien. Quote, it was hard sometimes to remember to hate him, to remember the game I was already playing. We get more context on what happened while Feyre was gone and learn that Lucien filled in for Tamlin during the Great Rite at Calanmai and was forced to take Ianthe into the cave and bed her and wed her. Not wed her, but, do
not wed her. Yeah, no.
Oh, thank God for that. Bed her. I'm sure bed her plenty. We get a fairly sweet moment between these two supposed friends then. Feyre says that she wishes she'd been there to stop Lucien from having to do this with Ianthe. And he says, quote, you are a better friend to me, Feyre, than I ever was to you. And I'd say there's maybe been some growth within our redheaded emissary. So I like that quote. Now enter another once beloved character, Alice. Oh, smart
Alice
ever
back.
watching Alice. I love Alice. Alice can always just be around. I love her. And like I said, she's smart and she pays attention. She was there when Feyre was kidnapped. And she says, I was there in that moment. And quote, they say you came back different, came back wrong. I never bothered to tell them. I think you came back right at last.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. I mean, her dresses
amazing.
No longer fit because Feyre is fed. She's strong. Her, Alice she's so smart. She's paying attention. She sees, what's happening. And she says she has a cousin who's a servant in Adriata because if you remember, Alice is of the summer court. And this cousin told Alice that Feyre was happy while she was there and laughing and not a kidnapping victim, as far as we know. Maybe Stockholm Syndrome, but who the heck knows? I mean, we know, but they don't. And she's on to Feyre. But all that she asks is that whatever Feyre is doing, that she leave her and her nephews out of it. And we leave it at that. And with that, it is actually now time for the summer solstice. So Ianthe makes a point that everyone must give thanks before the celebration, requiring that everyone join her atop a hill as the sun rises on the longest day of the year. And as Ianthe is performing her rituals and prayers and having all of the attention, she begins to position herself so that it appears as if she will be rising the sun and its power is flowing through her into their spring court lands. But of course, Feyre has a plan. And suddenly, Feyre begins to glow with the sun's light, stealing the show and unleashing a little bit of her power, the white light from within her that makes it appear as if the cauldron has chosen her in this moment as the savior of the land and not Ianthe. And we get whispers and people are like, oh, curse breaker, blessed. And then Feyre's like, I was holy. I was undimming before evil. I was cauldron blessed. Another move in Feyre's chess match. And I'm like, I just love her pushing people's buttons. Ianthe's especially.
Yes.
Nasty bitch. Like, yeah.
And it's such a, like, it's a harmful thing. It's not like she's doing what she does at the end of the chapters to Ianthe, but it's just like it's so funny and petty, and I love it. And just as damaging for Ianthe because it's her entire persona is based on her ability to channel this power, uh, according to the people. And so I just love it. I'm like, yes, petty Feyre.
Uh-huh. And I love that, according to the people, because we get in on the plan, right? Ianthe has her acolytes place a rock that's supposed to be in the perfect spot. So we know where that, like, bitch ain't doing nothing. It's all a show. It's all a show. And Feyre says, I'm going to take it from you. I love it too. Petty, petty. But hey, I would be too. I would also probably be just as petty. So after this moment, Lucien gets down on his knee as if he's bowing before his queen. Then all of the people who were there for the ceremony on the hills, they also bow. And it's, quite the moment for spring court lower lords and I hate saying this, but the lesser fae to see Feyre in this position of power, if you will, as if the sun has chosen her.
I mean, we're going to call the class system by what it is because it's easier for us to refer to the world we understand by the terms they use. But that doesn't mean we, like Feyre, like Rhysand, want the class system. We don't want there to be lesser fae. It just is how they're referred to. So it helps us all stay on track.
I can only hope that maybe in future books, we don't have to refer to them that way, that there's another way and it's just fae or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. So we'll see. The celebrations continue, though, and after a ton of dancing with Tamlin, because again, we got to put on the show, Feyre asks Lucien to take her back to the estate. She puts on a little lace nightgown. She falls, quote unquote, into a fitful sleep and then awakes with a yelp and goes to Lucien across the hall. I had a nightmare. And Lucien is mostly naked, aside from some pants that he hastily threw on and buttoned. And let's just all take a moment to envision that, because I'm sure that's a lovely sight. And then Feyre throws her arms around Lucien and cries seawater tears, knowing full well who is nearby. Lucien, none the wiser, holds her, stroking her hair, believing that his friend needs comfort. And who appears in the open doorway? Tamlin. Another power play on Feyre's part. And while I would love a Lucien sex scene, he's a pawn. I mean,
not with Feyre.
No, just hey, we've brought up threesomes before. Maybe in the first book with these three, we could have enjoyed that. Not now. Someday Lucien will have his person. Maybe it's Elaine. We don't know. But he's a pawn. He's being used as a pawn. And I think he kind of knows that. Maybe not in this moment, but he figures it out. And Feyre knew that Tamlin would try to come to her room that night. She planted the seeds of light touches throughout the celebration and the dancing. And that's what he did a year ago on Callan Mai when he bit her neck. And we were all like, oh my God, he bit her neck. Which, ACOWAR we love and it has its place. But now we know more. So she knew that this would happen. And she knew that it would utterly enrage him to see her in this way with Lucien. And she, again, just lets us in on these little nuggets of her plan. Quote, I was the nightmare, preying on what Tamlin had feared from my very first days here. The fear that I'd preferred the redheaded lord over him. Oh, he's so insecure. So insecure.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and I'm trying to see the good. Like, did you get cheated on? I'll bring it up later, but it just makes me so curious. Like, why are you so insecure, Tamlin? I don't know.
I mean, he literally. Okay, I'm hesitant to say this because I'm saving it for later, but Lucien's supposed to be his best friend.
Right. We can get into it
your
more.
Best friend.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I have more to say too. Yeah. He's insecure. He doesn't have a lot of trust. He's got problems, guys. He's, we all do, but he's got a lot. So there's now a crack in their friendship. There might have been before, but there is is a visible crack in this friendship, so Feyre continues her plan. They now travel to the next hole in the wall. Feyre and Lucien share a tent, and we learn a little bit more about this bargain that Tamlin made with Hybern. Now, this is kind of a long quote, but it all felt really necessary to remember. So, quote, the king of Hybern crafted his bargain with Tamlin too cleverly, too clearly. Magic bound them. Magic will strike him if he does not allow Hybern into these lands. It will claim his own powers, maybe kill him. Magic is all about balance. It's why we couldn't interfere with your bargain with Rhysand. Even the person who tried to sever the bargain faces consequences. If he'd kept you here, the magic that bound you to Rhys might have come to claim his life as payment for yours, or the life of someone else he cared about. It's old magic, old and strange. It's why we avoid bargains unless it's necessary. Even the scholars at the day court don't know how it works. Believe me, I've asked. And I know we have a questions, thoughts section later, but I felt necessary to throw two questions here. Why is Lucien so intertwined with Day? We hear about his eye, which we'll touch on later. Now the scholars, like, who are these connections and why is he so connected today? I just kind of found that interesting. Is it just him as an emissary? Why these friendships with Day instead of Autumn?
Well, he grew up in the Autumn court, and when you look at the
and does
map,
it touch Day?
It doesn't.
I have
the solar courts are higher up, so
yeah.
I was just assuming he had a friend there.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was interesting for some reason that he was so, bless you, that he was so, had so many connections in Day.
Yeah.
I guess. I have a map, a large map that I bought at the bookstore that I need to put on my wall so that I can just reference.
Take a glance.
But I don't know if it matters. I just was curious, why. The second question I have, so bargains and bonds are old, strange magic. So then why do like Rhys and Hybern use them? How do they know how to do it if others like Day don't know how to break them? I just found it interesting that Rhys and Hybern, we know, use these bargains, but we don't.
Well, from what I ascertained from Lucien's paragraph, everybody knows how to use them. It's just they don't understand the why underneath the rules of them. And perhaps maybe Hybern and Rhysand don't actually understand the why of the way the magic works either. We just know like that they are willing to use them.
Fair enough. Back to our summary. At the wall, they find 3 faces looking at them through this new hole. It is 3 children of the blessed. So the twins, they look like they found a snack. Jurian looks like he's upset. The children look like they've found salvation. And Feyre, with her human heart, she warns them out loud. She says, there is no such thing here. There is only death for your kind. She then pushes her powers through the wall, goes into their minds, and shows them the predators before them. She also puts a command in there as well to leave the continent and to tell others to do the same. Later, Jurian thanks her for making the children leave, and they also have some time to chat, the two of them, Jurian and Feyre. Jurian talks about Rhys. He says, quote, the male I knew was the most decent of them all. Better than that prick prince. Dagged. You don't lose that quality no matter the centuries. And Rhys was too smart to do anything but have the vilification of his character to be a calculated move. And yet here you are, his mate. The most powerful High Lord in the world lost his mate and has not yet come to claim her, even when she is defenseless in the woods. Perhaps that's because Rhysand has not lost you at all, but rather unleashed you upon us. And with that realization that everyone seems to be, kind of questioning the ending of this bond, everybody but Tamlin, we head to bed. We go to bed. And again, we're awoken the next morning, but this time it's by Lucien covering Feyre's mouth and giving her a warning look as the smell of blood fills their nostrils. The twins tracked down, kidnapped, and butchered the children of the Blessed. And I've been wondering this for a little while. Why do the Fae like to kill the humans? Is it just the torture aspect from the war? Do they eat them? Like, that's been something in my brain of like, do some high Fae or lesser Fae or creatures like the bog and then adder, do they eat these people? Do they just torture them? I don't know that I need to know, but I've been thinking that for a while. So maybe probably others have too. I don't know either. But so this, this makes Feyre and Lucien mad, but they have to make sure that whatever they're doing is a power play against the twins and against Jurian and what they're doing. So Feyre and Lucien devise their own plan to get back at the twins and send a message by luring and releasing a bog against them in retaliation. It doesn't kill them. It just scares the shit out of them, hurts them, whatever. And Tam Tam is pissed. He is pissed. But Feyre challenges him when they get back. And these are some quotes that I wrote down from her pushing back against him. The loss of any life on either side is a personal connection. Or is it only high Fae lives that matter to you? And I said, yeah, Tamlin, answer that question. Answer that question.
Answer
it. Mm. Let us do the judgment. Let us be the deciders of what happens in Prythian. Another one of her quotes. Oof, these next two. Quote, "You sold us out to get me back. You whored us out to Hybern. Forgive me if I am now trying to regain some of what we lost." And then
my favorite quote right here. There.
All right, everybody, you ready? "You might be willing to get on your knees for Hybern, but I certainly am not." Oh, the mic drop.
Feyre.
The mic drop. I mean,
seriously,
she's saying what we're all thinking.
This quote sent me. I was like, oh my gosh. I thought this was so interesting because there are moments when Feyre is like, I'm a wilting flower. And then moments where she's like, I'm going to tell you how it is, Tamlin. And so I wish I could get Tamlin's inner monologue.
Honestly, that would be kind of interesting.
I want to know, is he like, wait, why is she pushing back? She doesn't push back. But she always has. She always has from day one. It's just when she fell in love with you that she didn't push back as hard.
Yeah. Yep. When she thought she was protecting you. This has always been Feyre. He just didn't want to see it. Didn't want to see it. So with those quotes, one too many buttons were pushed and Tamlin explodes. Shocker. I'm so surprised. What? And in another smart move by Feyre, she does not shield herself. She takes the blow of his power, leaving her broken, bruised, cut, and bloody, and then goes through the house for everyone to see her that way. As if they didn't just see and hear what happened, Lucien rushes in to help Feyre. Again, interesting. And Tamlin's sentries, they just kind of stare at him in disbelief of like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is supposed to be your lady. Don't you love her? Like, what are you doing to her? So Lucien helps her up to her room. She says, I'm going to change. I'll come down for dinner, whatever. While in her room, Rhys reaches out down the bond. We love him. Sweet, sweet man, to check on her, make sure she's okay, because he could feel what happened, if not very, lightly. He could feel it. And then, he's a sweet man. He's also a flirty man. And they're, oh, I miss you, whatever. And she sends him an image of her just like sticking her tongue out. And then in Reese fashion, he sends back an image of his tongue doing something to Feyre. And we all said, of course you use the bond to send dirty pictures back and forth. What else would we expect Rhysand to do?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
It's so good. It's so good. But we can't focus on it, sadly, because we have to focus on the plan. We have a task at hand, all that's at stake. So we go down for dinner. Tamlin, late as always, begs for forgiveness. Feyre, I'm so sorry. Lucien won't even look at him, won't even look at Tamlin, doesn't even give him quippy, snarky remarks. He's mad. Feyre is slow to heal, which I think is interesting. We find out later why. But this causes them to put a small pause on their next expedition to the wall. Give her a little bit of time. While they wait, there is an attack on the estate by a group of Naga who got in, apparently, because a sentry had lost a set of keys to the estate gates a few chapters before. And so Tamlin strings him up and tortures him in front of everyone. And Ianthe, being who she is, comes up and says, give 20 lashings and one more for the cauldron. So 21 lashings. And Tamlin's sentries, they glare both at him and her. They're losing some respect. And it's creating more cracks in the spring court. And just as he's about to crack that whip, Feyre slips into the bound sentry's mind and unlocks his memory. And he points to Ianthe and says, it was she. She took the keys. She let the Naga in. This was all her ploy to gain back some power. And so to secure herself as someone who has the power, Feyre says, stop. I will listen. I will listen to this man. Tamlin, if you won't, I will hear him out. I will hear his story. Ianthe, being who she is, she says, no, Feyre, you have no right to do so. And once again, Tamlin must choose between these two pretty ladies. And who does he choose? Ianthe, of course. Of course. And suddenly, those cracks that Feyre has created, those become craters within his court, within the people who are meant to trust and respect him. And I liked these quotes. Quote, Tamlin had always been one of them, fought for them until now, until Hybern, until he put these foreign monsters before them, until he put a scheming high priestess before them. The thunderous crack as it cleaved the air snapped through the barracks, the estate, through the very foundations of the court.
Love that description.
It's so good. It is
the symbolism so of it.
Yeah. So after the 21 lashings, Feyre stays to help clean the sentry's wounds. And Bronn and Hart, who, if we remember that they're two of the top sentries of Tamlin's, they are the two who, correct me if I'm wrong, but they went with Lucien to try and retrieve Feyre from the woods in the Night Court back in ACOWAR. And they apologized.
I think they were under the mountain too.
Yeah, they've been around. Bronn and Hart they've seen everything, really. And in a pretty incredible moment of growth for them too, not two characters I think we'll continue to see a ton of, but they tell Feyre they're sorry. They are sorry for not stopping everything that's happened. And I went, uh-oh, tampon. Uh-oh. So our game is now set to move from the estate to the wall, and Ianthe and Tamlin are going to join us this time. As Feyre packs, Alice comes in to brush her hair and tells us that when they leave, so will she. She is going back to the summer court with her nephews, and she wishes Feyre well in everything. As long as she lives, she wishes her well. And I hope that we see her again someday. I hope that we see her happy in Adriata. Quote, blood rubies or no, you will always have one friend in the summer court. And it says Feyre's throat bobs, and so did mine. Excuse me.
Alice.
Sorry if y'all just heard my burp.
I did not.
Okay, good. It's like a sweet moment, and I'm like, I'm going to burp into the microphone. Like, Miranda, can you not ruin this quote that you loved so
and
much?
now I'm going to cry.
But I love Alice so much. She's just so sweet. And I'm like, can she just continue to be this like awesome aunt mom figure in Feyre's life? Like, Feyre's like, you could come to my court, and they both know what court she's talking about. And I'm like, they're just such good friends. I just love them. I love Alice.
I think Alice would really like it in Valaris.
I think she would too. And you know what? Nuala and Caradwyn, they can all be buddies, right? They can all split roles. Alice can live a happy life with her nephew. I'm envisioning beauty and peace, and there's so much destruction and bad to come with a war. But anyway, Alice says goodbye. We say goodbye to Alice, at least for the time being. We've said goodbye before. Maybe we'll say hello again. We head to the wall. And at the wall, Feyre's cutting up an apple. She's devouring this delicious snack. And she's chatting with the twins. And we learn that the Hybern army is apparently 200,000. And it includes allies in Valahan, Montessori?
Montessori.
Oh, I was close.
It's pretty good. That was pretty good.
Thanks. So Valhalla, Montessori, and Rask. And I said, some new places. I think we've heard of Valahan before, maybe. But Montessori and Rask
with the queens
were two new places. And I also saw isn't our map? Yeah, it shows
our
those
map
in the beginning
expands.
Of our book. Yes. Which when I opened ACOWAR, I was like, oh, this looks different, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't have my other book to compare. So yes,
you get to look at the continent.
Some exciting. World building. Yes. We also learn that the army is necessary, but that the cauldron is victory. It will wipe the world clean again. And I said, wipe it of what? Of who? Are we just taking out all the Prythian? No more. No more Prythian. No more people here. No. What's happening with that?
To me, I interpreted that the same as I would with like the concept of purebloods in Harry Potter.
Get rid of the lesser fae, get rid of the humans. Yeah.
That's how I perceived it. Whether that's what it's intended to mean or not, I don't know. But
right. But get rid of anybody who was against us, get rid of anybody who's lesser than us. Yeah. And that's what I figured too. But again, this motivation behind Hybern is very intriguing. Give us, his backstory a little bit, maybe. But with all this information and knowing that allowing the cauldron to study these gaps that they've been going to in the wall that are made by people or objects of mighty power to then take the whole thing down, this is all enough for Feyre. It's go time. And she thinks, quote, I had numbers, I had a purpose, I had a specific location and the names of foreign territories, as well as a spring court that's crumbling from the inside out. So it's go time. It is time to head home. Real home. Her plan is that she has put into a Sentry's mind that he helped her flee after the twins tried to kill her and Ianthe and Tamlin didn't intervene. It's the last piece of her plan. And as she's leaving, she's making her way through the woods. Feyre stumbles upon Ianthe and Lucien. She is trying to lure him in the same way that she tried to do with Rhys, and she's even trapping him with the blue nullifying stones from Hybern. He is up against a tree, unable to consent, which consent is a very important thing. And you can tell he's uncomfortable. And because Feyre hates Ianthe, and I think still has a soft spot for Lucien, Feyre goes into Ianthe's mind and forces her to let him go. and to make her smash her own hand that she has laid on countless men. Just over and over until it's nothing. What's the description? It's like a skin sack of bone, like shattered bone. I was like, oh, she's lucky she even has any hand to fix at that point. Feyre also tells Ianthe that she will never again know another's touch unless they initiate it and it is desired by both sides. She's taking away this power that Ianthe has. As Feyre finally tells Ianthe how she feels about her, finally, how she's wanted to slit her throat, someone else arrives at the clearing at the trees. And who is it? It's the twins. And they announce to Lucien that Feyre is also a Daemati if he hadn't figured that out. Guess what? She is. She can control minds too. And with that, the game is revealed. The twins knew, and now Lucien does too. The twins were also playing their own game because we learn that Feyre has been slow to heal. She's been struggling with headaches and her power because the twins have had Ianthe feed her crushed up poison. And that apple she was enjoying a few minutes ago is laced with Feybane, another poison. Lucien had also eaten it while at the camp. So now neither of them are going to have magic to help them very, very soon. While Feyre weighs whether to leave Lucien or not, he gives her that go. He yells, "Go, Feyre," tells her to leave. But instead of winnowing away, Feyre explodes into night, smoke, and shadow and winnows to Dagden and slices at his armor. Feyre uses her Illyrian training that Lucien watches in shock and awe. And she knows that the poison will soon take out her power. So she hits Dagden in his weak spot, his sister. She hits her with fire, burns her. It distracts him long enough that she can slice at Dagden again, which then the shock of the fire is distracting Branagh. And Lucien winnows to her. She's stunned and he beheads that bitch. Head rolls to the ground, and I said, yeah, cool. I love it. Feyre then stabs Dagden through the eye and lets his corpse fall onto that of his sisters. And our twin Daemati are dead. And I was like, they were like 5,000 years old. They lasted a long time just to be taken out by Feyre and Lucien.
Mm-hmm.
So as she is now literally trying to leave, Lucien grabs Feyre and he says, "I'm going with you. I'm getting my mate back." And Feyre's like, "Okay, we gotta go then. Like, let's go." So Lucien's doing a little bit better than Feyre is. So he winnows them as far as he can until his power fails, until Feyre says she can like feel it shutting off. And then the bond with Rhys is gone. She can't talk to him and tell him where she is. They have no power for at least a couple of days, according to Dagden and Branagh. So without their magic, they're forced to choose between traveling through autumn, where Lucien's horrid family could be waiting, or to summer, where Feyre has a debt to be paid with her life. They decide that the lesser of two evils seems to be the autumn court, and as they step into one of the magical doorways between courts, they are sent off by the sound of a beast's howl, Tamlin's howl.
Oh,
the end of part 1 of this book.
Oh. Do you think the autumn court was the better choice? I just have to wonder. I'm like, I feel like if they'd gone the summer route, Feyre could have done some explaining. She's got Lucien there to advocate for her too, to be like, yeah, Hybern's people, they are there. She's telling the truth. I ran away too. I can corroborate.
Well, and like Alice is like, there, okay, or supposed to be on her way there, and like Tarquin is not somebody who thinks that there should be a class system.
I
Yeah,
know. So I'm
I
like,
think
I
summer
feel
might
like
have
you
been the
could have
safer
been
choice.
safe in summer. And I mean, granted, we don't know what's going to happen in the autumn court, but we do know, excuse me.
We're just dying over here today.
I know, my gosh. But we do know that Feyre's or that Lucian's family doesn't like Feyre and doesn't like Lucian. And
Yeah, they don't like either of them. They don't like the
that
night
feels
court.
I'm just saying, I think we could have had better success in the other door.
Yeah. Yeah.
That or better success, whatever. Potentially easier time. I don't know. I just this
Potentially
is
less
all
opportunity to die or be
yeah.
tortured or sent back to Tamlin. I don't know. I don't know.
So world building moments we should keep track of. Okay, we mentioned it, but let's note it here. Feybane, new poison. We know that it nullifies powers temporarily. It can be ground and mixed into why did I put the
Grown.
word green? Oh, grown.
Grown.
I'm like, what does that even mean?
I'm looking at your notes and I'm like, green,
Why?
green, green.
It
What?
could be ground down and mixed or grown into the DNA of food. As Miranda mentioned, Hybern has 200,000 soldiers, including the allies, and that Lucian's eye came from the Dawn Court. Clearly, this court has the ability to cultivate like technology or mechanics in some way. We don't really know much about their court, so I thought that was interesting to note.
Yeah, I agree. I also, on the world building moments, I threw it in Lucian, but I'll throw it here instead. Feyre like really looks at his eye for the first time, like noticing the mechanics of it. She also says that it's like intricately carved with these like
Mm-hmm.
whorls and symbols. And I just want to know so much more, yeah, about the Dawn Court, or wait, is it Dawn Court or Day Court? Now I've confused myself.
Oh, I
I
thought it
think
was
I
the Dawn
said day
Court.
above. Ah, shit. I don't know. And I
Well,
thought it
he
was
goes
day.
to one court to help him
Are they
with
different? Is
breaking a
one with
bargain.
scholars and one the eye comes from a different court than the breaking of the bargain? I might have confused myself. We'll
I
figure it
believe
out.
so.
Okay. I trust you. You've read this more times than I have. I'll
I
trust you.
know, but now you're making me unsure. So I'm like, I think so.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Dawn or Day, whoever made the eye, I again, as I had mentioned, I think last episode or at some point, his eye feels so at odds with the rest of Prithian, at least at this point, like the mechanics of it. So I'm just super curious to know if we'll ever get some inner workings of Lucian's eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should jump into Feyre.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say with the world building,
Oh.
the cauldron. It has magic that also can be depleted. So it was drained. It has to replenish, which I think is something to keep in mind. We know that there are 3 spring court wall holes and one off the coast and more on the rest of the continent. We just don't know where. And I want to mention this again, that the wall, Feyre says she recoils from its wrongness in italics, which I just think is like an interesting description of the magic that has created the wall, that is the wall, this wrong feeling.
Right.
So I wanted to throw those in there too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Feyre is, we've talked about her plenty in this opening, a cutting creature. And I really loved this opening quote with her. In these past weeks, I had crafted my demeanor as intricately as one of these paintings. I really love the way she describes the facade that she's been putting on while in the spring court to represent that fakeness. And she believes that the fakeness that she also thinks the spring court represents, right? I actually personally, I think that the spring court is really beautiful. I like this idea of living in something of like perpetual rebirth and the beauty that comes with that. But I can see how if you're not someone who's made for that setting, how it could feel like a facade.
Yeah.
But I just found that really interesting about Feyre.
And I mean, yeah, does eternal spring sound lovely? Yeah, nice weather, beautiful greenery, like as
A lot of
lovely as
allergies.
well, yeah, which is unfortunate. Um, but Tamlin feeds into that, right? In the way that he's treated her and the way that others in the court have treated her, that she's not experienced she's only been to night and summer, but she's experienced something so different from the people and the high lords of those courts, that it taints spring for us just a little bit. But I mean, this girl is an actress, and the power play of being so, she is no longer letting anyone else take the lead. She's her own main character. Even if it's all currently a lie in a show, she is the one making the decisions. And I also loved this quote, I cannot talk. A harmless, lovely package, perfect for a high lord to mount whenever he wished. Like, that's the persona that she fought against, but is now playing into because she knows she has to. And I'm like, we've always known that Feyre is determined, but just the reminder of it here at the start of ACOWAR and the part that she's playing, I think is so powerful. And I love it for her.
Speaking of her powers, she sends that paintbrush up into flames and turns it to ash. And just like to know, like her own flame doesn't burn her. That's a cool aspect of magic. We love that.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just like a little pyro sitting there watching her own fire. Like, oh, so
would you not be though? If I
yeah.
could just produce a little flame, I'd probably sit here all the time, or like ice for my fingers.
Yes,
I would be so annoying.
Constantly, like people who can like roll quarters between their fingers. That's how I'd be. I'd be like, look at me go.
That would
like
be my tick.
My little fidget.
Yes, exactly.
And she's so adamant about burning down the roses and like anything red colored. And it reminds us, if we go back a couple books, those roses were the ones that were put down the aisle by Ianthe when Feyre specifically requested them not to be. And they also represent the color and the trauma from Amarantha and all the blood. And so these roses are a direct representation of not just Feyre's trauma, but now Ianthe's betrayal.
And her rage. This quote, my rage had become a living thing inside my chest, an echoing heartbeat that soothed me to sleep and stirred me to waking.
I'm so glad you said the word rage, because that is going to be one of my main takeaways from these chapters today when we get to our heroine moment at the end. So yeah, her rage is palpable for sure. She talks about practicing her smile over and over again to assure that she was giving something authentic or believable to Tamlin and Lucien. And this part did make me giggle a little bit, because I have had to do this. I have had to practice my own smile in the mirror. And like, I literally teach people how to do this, which to the average person, you're hearing that and going like, wow, that's really weird and kind of gives me the ick, and it's really fake. I understand. I get it. But in the world that Miranda and I come from in pageantry, you got to make sure your face don't look like you smelled something rank.
When you got to smile for like hours on end, even when you lose, even if things aren't going the way that you anticipated, you still have to find a way to smile authentically, even if it doesn't feel authentic in the moment.
Yeah.
You still have to find some
the juxtaposition of emotions, right? Like you're sad, you're devastated, or maybe you're tired and exhausted, but you also are thankful for opportunities and grateful to be in the moment of wherever you're at. And so, yeah, you have a smile. I mean, anybody who works in the service industry can get it too. Like, you have to keep up a smile. And anyways, I just think this is so interesting that Feyre is practicing this smile. And I was like, oh yeah, I get that.
And I love it too, because when we're in Kalanmai, she talks about that smile. She says, dance after dance after dance until sweat was running down my back as I worked to keep that smile on my face, to remember to laugh when my hands were within strangling distance of his throat.
Yes. So funny.
So good.
Uh, now we do get to see Feyre's old bedroom being covered in vines and thorns as if it had not been touched in over 100 years. And we note that the room is shredded, ripped apart, and everything is strewn across the floor. To me, this was a physical representation of Tamlin's rage and pain about losing Feyre. And I do say pain because I do genuinely believe he was distraught, horribly sad about losing her and what he believed to be her being kidnapped and taken from him. So, but also the explosion of it. And it's just something about the vines, as if not being touched for 100 years, that feels like it's a tomb for her memories of her time there to be kept in.
I also then was curious because I feel like we don't know a ton about Tamlin's power. Can he control vegetation? Kind of.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I found that so interesting that we say that the vines and thorns had overtaken as if 100 years rather than months had passed. And I know we're in perpetual spring, so things grow differently. But then it just made me think, was that part of his rage, this like taking over? So I was curious with
Perhaps.
this Lord of Spring, can he control nature a little bit?
Or is nature tied to his emotions?
Yeah. Yeah. His power in some way.
That seems reasonable. Yeah. I like that idea. Now, there are moments for Feyre and Rhysand to still connect using their bond, and they're very tender. We get to see more peeks into Valaris, knowing that people are safe, or Fae are safe. Excuse me. And that, that settles my heart, even if it's just for Feyre's sake. And I really enjoyed that. I love that her Cursebreaker power allows her to detect spells, which is really cool. Like she can just feel them in a room. And of course, one of my favorite parts, Miss Alice. Alice. Okay. She knows Feyre too well. She cannot be fooled. I love how she's like, we can't try to find a dress. And she's like, well, you could wear this. And it's her night court clothes that Tamlin didn't get to shred.
She does not bullshit.
You could wear this. Would you like to wear this, Feyre? I think I know. And yes, you already gave this quote, but her saying, I believe you came back right at last. Alice really supports Feyre's vengeance, but asking her boys to be left out of it, I think it's such a beautiful moment of trust for Feyre. Like, I see you and I trust you and I understand you. Here's a pretty pure white dress for you to wear on solstice that helps you play your part. Like, does Alice want the spring court to fall too? Is she also like kind of overworking there?
I feel like it. I feel like she's like, I'm done with this shit. Take me back to summer. Give me the ocean. Give me less of this bullshit. We didn't have an Alice specific section because we don't get much time with her and not a lot of change. But I did love that she doesn't think poorly of Rhys. That she knows what they did for Feyre. And yeah, she sees what Feyre's doing and is kind of like, go for it, girl. But I like that she doesn't think poorly of Rhys. Jurian doesn't think poorly of Rhys to an extent. So many people, I think, as much as he puts on a show, they actually realize that it's a show of protection for his court. And so I liked that Alice saw that. It just felt like confirmation for me. Like, yeah, Rhys is a good guy.
And she mentioned, she's like, because servants talk. Y'all may think less of the lesser fairies, but we chat and we have our own kind of power. And she talks to the ones in the summer court. She's heard from the fairies under the mountain and knows what Rhys did to protect certain people. So Alice does know a little bit more. And that final goodbye with Alice, yes, cue the sobbing. And
so good.
I love this part where she's like, she knew which court Feyre was talking about. And she says, and she did not look afraid. because so many people are terrified. And, you know, they're terrified by Rhys, and soon they'll be terrified by Feyre by association. But she
Mm-hmm.
knows somebody out there who knows her true nature and
Mm-hmm.
is not afraid of it. That's beautiful.
And maybe she'll
Uh,
share it.
I know.
Those words can spread like wildfire, and maybe they'll be
Yes,
beneficial.
I could. And you said this earlier, but I had to remember to laugh when my hands are in strangling distance of Tamlin's neck. That one did make me giggle. Like,
Yeah,
I'm going to kill you.
so good. So good. She's like, um, sorry, my Apple Watch is screaming at me that it's dying, and I'm like, I've had you on for an hour. It must not have charged at all.
Lol.
Distraction. Yeah, I want to strangle Tamlin. I want to slit Ianthe's throat. I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Maybe you get your chance, girl. Maybe. Yeah. The laying beside Ianthe without slitting her throat was an exercise in patience and control. Good for you,
Mm.
Feyre. Good for you for not just like acting on a whim.
Zen.
Yes. So proud of you.
Now, I will tell you one moment. Okay. I did not love how Feyre used Lucien in these
Yeah.
moments to pull out Tamlin's jealousy. Like, uh, does Lucien deserve it a little bit? Maybe a little.
Yeah.
Do I understand how that was a necessary part of the plan? Yes. But do I also feel bad for Lucien? Yeah, I do.
Do you think though, and I mean we already know that Tamlin was nervous that Feyre would like Lucien instead, but by picking Lucien, you know that Tamlin's not going to kill him, but he would have killed a sentry if Feyre was flirting, and
Yes,
pulled a sentry
yes.
in this way. So
I
at
just
least
feel
the choice, we know that it wasn't somebody that,
it's a safer choice for their life.
yes.
Yes, but I just meant like I feel bad about Lucien being a pawn.
Yeah, it sucks
I'm
that
like,
he
ugh,
had to be a pawn in her game. Yeah.
yeah. However, on the other hand, it does not bother me how Feyre chose to use the Spring Court citizens against Tamlin. She's having conversations that she purposefully wants to be heard. She's defending the sentries that were being whipped in front of other people, and then is kind of exposing Tamlin's rage when he explodes on her and hurts her. And all she really had to do to turn the Spring Court against Tamlin was just to showcase his true nature. That's it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she is highlighting the moments instead of helping hide them. But she's really just showing everybody this is the truth. Do you want to follow
Mm-hmm.
this person? And they make those choices, like, right, of their own free will.
And she pushes Tamlin to do some of the things and pushes Ianthe, but ultimately they make their own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
These are not
Mm-hmm.
decisions being made by Feyre, they're decisions being made by themselves. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want
And
to
you
end
had
the
you
favorite
had that
chunk.
quote. I love it.
Yeah. My goal was bigger than revenge, my purpose greater than personal retribution. And I think that is like the theme of these first 10 chapters at least. She wants to strangle Tamlin. She wants to kill Ianthe, but she knows that it's bigger than that. It's bigger than just satisfying her own needs. It's making sure that Prithian is safe, that she can get home, and that ultimately they can take down the Spring Court, or well, the Spring Court will take themselves down.
Yeah. And we're going to take a little hop skip away from the Spring Court for a second to talk about Rhysand. And while he's not super involved in these first few chapters, we do need to mention him because he starts our story. And,
Mm-hmm.
Rhysand in the war, I felt like was a window into the haunting past that crafted him into who we meet. Right? He needed Feyre, the artist, to help him soften and to heal. And we know that trauma bonds are a real thing. They are so real. And while the Rhys has the war as his own personal trauma, right? Feyre can't share in that specifically. But having someone in your life, right, mate or not, maybe it's a friend who can see and appreciate every facet of you is so important. And I enjoyed getting to see this window into Rhysand's past to understand
Mhm.
him a little bit deeper as well. And these quotes really stuck out to me. So painful. I always thought death would be a peaceful homecoming, a sweet, sad lullaby to usher me into whatever waited afterward. I now wondered if that lullaby of death was not a lovely song, but the droning of flies, if flies and maggots were death's handmaidens.
Mm,
Mm,
what a quote.
this
What a
is so
quote.
well written.
It is. And it's almost like maturing within a quote of, oh, death will be peaceful and whatever.
Mm,
And no, death can be horrible. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it can be, especially when you're
yeah.
surrounded by a world of war. And oh yeah, that quote is so disgustingly beautiful. Like I don't know how else to describe it.
And then these two. I used my power until it was nothing but smoke in my veins. Oh, I love that description. And
Mm-hmm.
then the last one, a kingdom of the rotting dead. And still I looked because he was looking for his
Mm-hmm.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
A kingdom of the rotting dead. I'm just imagining it splayed out before him.
Right. I can envision this. Like I can see the descriptions are so well done. And then we jump basically from that quote into part one, which is Princess of Carrion, which is
Mm-hmm.
death and decay and rotting animals. And I'm like, um what a way to open us going into the spring court and the
Yeah.
destruction that we're meant
In a place
to
of birth, and
create.
here comes the Princess of Carrion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wild. Also, for her to be described as the Princess of Death is very interesting to me. I did this just an interesting description for Feyre. I'm like, okay, this
Instead of like the
artist.
Princess of Night, the Princess of,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm like,
Princess of Death.
that's dark. Okay.
I mean, she doesn't
I
kill anybody yet, but
well, she's killed a few Hybern soldiers along
sorry,
the
I
way.
meant yes. She kills Dagden. Duh. She kills Ianthe's hopes and dreams of
Hand.
power.
Yeah, her hopes and dreams. I also for Rhys can imagine how much he wanted to explode and just like run and save Feyre when she's feeling he's feeling Feyre being attacked by Tamlin when he,
Mm-hmm.
explodes on her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I just know he was like sitting there.
Right, like
Hold me back.
wings
Hold me
out,
back. I'm gonna go.
black.
I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
And yes, I did enjoy the little Bond sexting moments, if you will, sending nudes through the Bond. That was fun.
Of
That
course.
that again, that little bit of comedic relief that you
Yeah.
need throughout this story to make you feel like it's not so daunting. And yeah,
Yes.
the tongue images were fun and they helped me get through that section.
Yes.
Yes.
So fitting.
Speaking of a different hottie, um,
Mm.
Lucien. Okay, so Lucian's very involved in these chapters. He, I would say, is
Yes.
more involved than Rhysand is in this part of the book. And I love how he is described as smart, intuitive, and focused. Ooh, yes, great descriptors for Lucien. And I would agree with
Mhm.
all of them. That's who we see in this moment. Uh, you mentioned that Lucien gets the ring and the melted ring, sees what's happened, knows the truth. Is he protecting Tamlin or Feyre?
And I think that's an interesting thing to dissect,
Hmm.
especially as he continues to be at her side throughout this section.
Mhm.
I think we may be seeing a bit of a change in Lucien. I mean, clearly he leaves here at the end. He leaves Tamlin. He finally, and I think back to, was it ACOWAR when he says, "Don't make me choose Feyre. I will choose him." He has now chosen Feyre and chosen Elaine and
Yeah.
chosen to leave and go against Tamlin, not just
Yeah.
in the end, but multiple times when, he won't even look at him, when he takes Feyre out of the room after he explodes. Like, I love to see this growth in his perspective too of his quote unquote best friend.
Yeah.
Um,
And I honestly, I don't think that Lucien ever once fully believed Feyre.
oh
I
God,
think
no.
I
No.
think Lucien saw who Feyre was when she went to go retrieve her from the night court, finally saw her in her full moment and power. Isn't she grows wings in front of him?
Mm.
Does she not?
And it's like, does he sees it because he's seen it. Tamlin is
Yes.
blind. And what I'm gonna get into that when we reach him, but
But I don't think
he's
he ever believed it. Like his eye is honing in on her.
mm-hmm,
He's like, why aren't you worried that your sisters were just taken, Feyre?
mm-hmm,
Why aren't you
mm-hmm,
freaking out, Feyre? But he chooses to keep his fucking mouth shut the
mm-hmm.
whole time. And then I go all the way back to this ring, and I'm like, I think it started there. I think he was not protecting Tamlin. I think he was protecting Feyre from Tamlin.
From Tamlin. Yeah, I agree. And I think, and I don't know if it's just that moment or if it's a multitude of things that I think have really opened his eyes. And I know that he's never particularly enjoyed Ianthe, of course, like we get that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he's pretty outright about with it now. Like she's gonna spin a story that you'll want to hear. Like, are you gonna listen to her? Are you gonna believe that? And we get this quote like Tamlin gives Lucien a warning look, and Lucien just ignores him. And that would have not happened in ACOWAR.
Mm-hmm.
And this defiance is new against Tamlin, especially. And I will say though that this defiance makes me feel a little bit more like Elaine would be Lucian's mate, not Tamlin's mate, because
Mm.
of this like deeper defiance
Mm.
against Tamlin and this desire to go. And I don't know. I know it's a theory, and I don't know. I don't think
Mm.
we know truly
Mm.
if Lucien and Elaine are or are not mates, but something about the way that he acts and reacts in these chapters makes me lean more heavily that wasn't him putting on a show to protect
Yeah,
Tamlin. I think he's kind of
that
done
it's for
protecting
real.
Tamlin right now.
That's what for sure. That is what it feels like. And I don't think it was all to do with him being mated to Elaine, because he was not mated to Elaine when he chose to hide Feyre's melted ring.
Mm-hmm. It started before then. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Now, I poor Lucien, he
Mm-hmm.
feels tainted by having to perform the great rite of Calumet with Ianthe. And he's always willing to do what he must to sacrifice for those that he cares for. And perhaps, him and Feyre are alike in that sense. And that is maybe why she can understand him better.
Yeah.
Tamlin offers his own, I guess, selfish sacrifices, but they're always self serving. And Lucian's sacrifices are not self serving. He does not want this, but he will do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, yeah, that makes sense why Feyre would be able to relate so easily to him.
Mm-hmm.
This was just a little tiny note. Lucien keeps his room in autumn court colors, not spring court. He redecorated his whole room to represent his home. So maybe some personal sentiment or attachment to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, speaking of Feyre, speaking of Lucien and the Autumn Court, Princess
Branna.
Branna is like, yeah, them Autumn Court men, they fuck with fire, okay? And then Feyre's like cringing, imagining Lucien and Elaine
Elaine.
together with like the fire of his sexual prowess. And I'm like, I just, I laughed because I was giggling at Feyre cringing.
And then there was me who was like, come on, SJM, give us some more. Give us that. Also, I just thought about this. Fire. Nesta's uh drawer is fire. What if Nesta's his mate, not Elaine? What if because they were together in that moment he saw the wrong sister? I don't think that's true. I am on the team of Nesta and Cassian because Cassian's siphons are like fire within. But
There
I
you
just
go.
was like, oh, fire.
But truly, I do think that's what some of these internet theories feel like. Sometimes they're like, obvious symbolism. They must be together.
Yeah. Yes. It's like, ah.
Don't believe every theory you hear. Sometimes you just gotta wait for it to be told. Okay. But it's fun to dream. Now continuing on with Lucien, another time where, gosh, my heart's being ripped out for him. Like, we really do care for this dude. He is showing fear and embarrassment about being tied up by Ianthe. And let's just get this out there. No one should ever feel embarrassed. Victims of abuse should never carry embarrassment for the evils of their perpetrators. And that's what Ianthe is. She's evil. She's horrible. And in this final battle scene, Lucien's already said earlier, many chapters before, you were always the better friend, Feyre. Like, he sees her, he understands her in so many ways and sees his own faults. But this is the moment where I think Lucien finally, fully, 100% is like, this is who you are. I see you. Fierce, powerful, loyal, and just. That is who Feyre is. And like I said, I think he's known this entire time that she's faking it. And he sees the same version of her in this moment that he saw in Valaris when he went to capture her. And he's like,
because he sees it.
This is her.
He is paying attention to what is happening in front
of him. Ding, ding, ding. He's actually fucking paying attention. That part.
Which I know there's one more thing you want to say about Lucien before we get into the person who cannot pay attention to save his fucking life.
Yeah, I just was genuinely surprised that Lucien, without hesitation, was like, going with you. And I say I was genuinely surprised. And now looking back on it, I'm like, no, you've been showing signs this entire time that you're over Tamlin shit.
Yeah, even at the end of ACOWAR, when he's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, oh my God. And then, yeah, I think it's been building up for a while, since the ring, since he trapped Feyre in the house at the beginning of ACOWAR. Like, I agree. I think it's been building up. And while it does like initially go, oh my gosh, she's actually going to leave. If you really look at it, yeah,
it makes sense.
It really does. You can expect it. You can see that it was coming. If Elaine is truly his mate, they say that bond and that pull and that desire and need is very, very strong. So bye-bye, bestie. I'm headed to find my gal.
Tamlin. Oh my gosh. Okay. So a redeeming. Oh, sorry. I just took your line.
Oh, girl, you good. I don't care.
A redeeming moment. Tamlin did have his people relocate to the east. That's
his
good.
Singular redeeming moment. Singular. The one. The only one.
Okay, well, we got it out there. We can move on now. Okay, so Tamlin believing that Feyre could ever be okay with what is being done to the humans when the wall comes down is so fucking naive. I just can't. Even that moment where he's like talking about what she did with Dan again. Who the fuck is that? Like a yogurt?
Put him in one.
Dannon.
Okay.
And the twins. Okay, I'm just gonna refer to them as the twins. When Feyre's like, do you just care about the Fae and not, and not the humans? And you said it in the beginning of the episode, which quote I'm talking about. He's so naive. Of course, Feyre's gonna give many, many shits about what you're doing.
Ugh. That. And naive is such a good word for it. Such a good word. I I've said that he's blind. Like I've already mentioned that. He is blind. He is blind to what Feyre is doing literally in front of him. He's also blind to Ianthe. They are both playing him like the goddamn fiddle that he likes to play. And he is just letting it happen. He is none the wiser. He's also with Feyre and how blind he is to it. I kind of appreciated this moment of her pitying him, of her saying, I pitied that not only Lucien had lied to him, but Alice as well. He's not just being played by her and Ianthe. He's being played kind of by everybody, lied to by everybody. Pitied that not only Lucien had lied to him, but Alice as well. How many others had seen the truth of my suffering and tried to spare him from it?
Because they all know he can't handle the truth.
You can't handle
everybody everybody around you believes that you are too weak to handle the truth and you're not mature enough to act with good faith in what's right. Everyone around you.
Why don't we just all take a pause and just yeah.
Wow. How devastating, right?
Yeah. And how sad for him. You know what? I guess that's what I can feel for Tamlin other than
Pity.
Annoyance is pity.
Yeah. I did respect the fact that Tamlin refused to perform the Calumet ritual. Honestly, I respect the fact that he didn't want to go screw somebody else mindlessly when his perceived love of his life has been stolen from him. Like, how would you feel if that was Rhysand?
Right. But then you go, oh, hey, best friend, but you're going to do it. And you're going to do it. I know.
I'm not saying the next choice was right. I'm simply saying I understand it. I get not wanting to do the ritual. And if it was the other shoe foot Rhysand, I would be fucking pissed if he went and screwed somebody else while I was off somewhere else. Right? Now I know the situation is different, but I get it. However, you're right. Putting Lucien in that position was fucked up as well. Super fucked up. Now, Lucien is supposed to be his closest friend, his advisor, his emissary. But Tamlin really believes that person, your closest friend, would get intimate with your lady? I think it just shows Tamlin's incredibly deep insecurity.
And it's like, keep your friends close, your enemies closer. But I mentioned this super briefly before in the summary, but like, did someone cheat on Tamlin? Maybe Amarantha wasn't his mate, but his mate left him. Maybe he had a mate and something happened to her. And that's why he is the way that he is. I'm just, there's got to be some sort of trauma there that we don't know, because why do you react and act this way? I mean, I guess unless it's just who he is, like truly deep down to his core. But God, that's going to be a lot harder to have a redemption arc.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does have a lot of trauma in his life. I mean, even we learned that he didn't burn Rhysand, or sorry, he did burn. Blah, he didn't save Tamlin's. Wow, I can't, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna read this. Tamlin says he burned Rhysand's family's wings. There we go. I got it out. There's already a lot of trauma from what he experienced with his family and Rhysand's family. And there is no physical evidence anymore to corroborate that. I do find that interesting. But he says that they were burned a long time ago.
Yeah. Guilt? Question mark?
I assume.
Do you feel guilty about the choice he made?
Well, and again, he didn't physically kill Rhysand's mother and sister. His father did. But I assume there is some guilt because his yappy little mouth is what led to that. Now, all of this, leads to that rage simmering beneath him at all times, just sitting there. And even when, he lets his claws, wow, hang on. Just going to clear my throat for a second.
We're on the struggle bus today.
I'm back. I'm back. Okay, even when he lets his claws sink into the wood of the chair, at just the thought of Lucien and Feyre being alone together in the woods with Jurian and Brannon and Brannon.
The twin. That's why I just referred to them as the twins. Dagden and Branna. Branna
and Dagden. Wow, I've done it twice. Mindlessly.
The struggle, man.
But he knows they're not just like going to be alone. There's going to be other people there. And yet he still is so self-conscious about them being together that he sinks his claws into his own chair. And this makes me wonder about the state of the furniture in his home. We got a whole ass bedroom upstairs that's torn to shreds. He's broken up his study multiple times. The dining room table's been destroyed.
You know what? Maybe that's why Alice is like, I'm out. I am sick and tired of cleaning up after this motherfucker's claws and having destroyed furniture. I want to go back to summer.
Oh, I am not getting paid enough for this shit. Okay. So true. Fair, Alice. Oh my goodness. But he was rageful enough to kill his own sentries after torturing them for information about what happened to Feyre. And it shows such a lack of connection to those in his service.
Right. And like we get this reminder that these centuries they didn't have to, I mean, they kind of did because they work for him, but they chose to go into the woods to be murdered. Andros made the choice, knew that he may not come back, that he may be murdered by a human, but they chose to do that for Tamlin, for the Spring Court, and for Prythian. And he's just like, no, I'll just fucking kill you. Again, you're losing points, Tamlin. Yeah. You're already in the negatives.
And it brings up this question of the concept of loyalty for him. So my question is, does he truly value loyalty? Because it feels as though that is the most important thing to him. Is this idea of loyalty, whether it's from Lucien, from his sentries. He knows that they're loyal to him, because they would send themselves out willy-nilly over that wall for the good of Tamlin. They'd do anything for him. They are loyal. But he throws that loyalty out the window, and the entire court falls because of it. And it goes to show, like, you can't just assume because you've earned someone's loyalty once, you have it forever. You need to display consistent signs that you are worth being loyal to.
It's a great reminder for anybody in a position of power.
Absolutely. And I can't really get a grip on Tamlin's moral compass through all of this. Like,
no.
Let's go to the Children of the Blessed piece, right? He knows that what the twins did to the Children of the Blessed was horrible, wrong. But then he reprimands Feyre for what she did in retaliation, which wasn't even that bad, if we're being honest. And also, just like, reprimanding Feyre is so gross. She is not a kid. She is supposed to be the love of your life. And I know he doesn't perceive her as an equal, but nonetheless, it's more evidence to showcase that Tamlin doesn't see her that way. He never could, and he never will.
And I think it's also evidence that he truly doesn't love or value her. I don't think that this man actually loves her. She is a possession of his, a pawn in the game he thinks he's playing. He's not playing a very good one, but she's just a pawn in his game. He does not love her. I don't think
he knows what love is.
No. Well, and I mean, we can
look at his dad
and his Trump. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Look at his dad. Look at his parents. They did not love each other.
Who were willing to kill him so that they could have the High Lord position one day.
Yes.
No love.
No, not even a little bit. Not even.
It literally is smacking him in the face in book 1 and the beginning of book 2, and he can't see it. And it says in the book that Tamlin knows Ianthe's involvement with the keys and the Naga. Like, he hears it
Mm.
from those who have been loyal to him for much longer than Ianthe has been around. Hears the truth and chooses to whip his loyal sentries instead of acting on what he knows is true. He knows Ianthe is spinning a lie, but he's too worried about being seen as weak to do the right thing. Right? I mean, speaking of weakness, like, Feyre says that her plan will make Hybern no longer want to ally with Tamlin because Hybern will see Tamlin's court as weak. She knows that Tamlin cares about his perception and all of this. But I actually don't think Hybern would care. I think they just need the lands, they need the access, and they have them automatically no matter what because of Tamlin's bargain. They don't really need Tamlin. I don't think they care if he's weak. I think if they see him as weak, they're like, cool. So when we cleanse the world, we'll cleanse it of you too. Like, be gone.
Makes it easier.
But Tamlin cares about his perception.
Yes, he does. Yeah. That's and we can pity him for that. But you know who we ain't gonna pity? I ain't gonna pity this next person. I have no pity for Luna. Do you have something to say?
Sorry. I know those of you who are listening don't know what's happening. My dog just decided to pop her head up to the microphone. So all the more reason to watch us if you want to see a cute dog.
Yeah. She just wanted to join the conversation.
She did. She really wants to leave, though. I'm going to put her down. And I'm going to have to let her out. But we are going to move on to Ianthe, right? The constantly planning and performative Ianthe. That makes you question, how much power does she really have? And is this the case for, like, all the priestesses as they're faking it? Or is it just her? I don't know. And it brings me to this idea of, like, a religious zealot. They, like, grasp at power for the sake of control over others. And that is exactly what she is to me.
Yeah. She's cunning in her own way. I don't want to give her that, but I will. She plays the part, right, of the guilty bystander who made the decision to turn over Feyre's sisters because it was necessary to protect Prythian and because she believes it's what Feyre wanted. She's a good little liar. She has perfected the art of being a better actress than we can probably want to give her credit for.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Now, Ianthe on the solstice ceremony, to me, I already told you, like, this was hilarious. From the dramatic reading to the positioning of the sun, and Ianthe just feeling so, like, small and belittled in this moment when the attention turns to Feyre. But I even more so loved how Lucien was equally as dramatic, like going to his knees, realizing how Feyre's, like, manipulating the moment he sees. And he kind of, like, clocks it. He's like, what's happening here? Because they're, like, practically falling asleep during all of this. And then he's like, huh?
Oh shit. What's happening?
That did give me a good giggle. I liked how Lucien was playing into it a little bit. Again, a sign that I believe Lucien knew what was happening the entire time. And you know, Ianthe, she's just disgusting. Like, the way she bound Lucien to force herself on him. She deserved everything she had coming to her. And I will tell you, as a graphic audio listener, they did their job well because the crushing sound was so wet and gross and brutal. And you're listening to Feyre's narration over all of this. It's a huge chunk. And it is consistent, like a heartbeat throughout the entire thing. And every time I was just like,
just gags a little. I can only imagine. And I, like, forget about those parts with the graphic audio. You know, I'm like, oh, it'd be so fun to hear, like, the voices and whatever. But, like, the background sounds to what's also happening. Oh, God, what? I want that job. How does somebody get into the world of
Right?
producing graphic audios?
So cool.
Sign me up. Sign me
Sign me
up.
up. It's so fun. Now, we are going to shift now to a different character, another cunning character, another character that just makes me inquisitive, Mr.
Mm.
Jurian. Now,
Hmm.
we start he his scenes in this with him strolling up to the Springcourt Manor with the twins, and he starts going up the stairs without permission from Tamlin to do so when he arrives. You can already tell based on that action, his feelings for Tamlin, this idea of hierarchy, and how he doesn't necessarily respect it.
Oh yeah. He doesn't give a shit. This is his
He's like
world and
leaving him
everybody's
back
just
there to
in
have a
it.
conversation. He's going to go into a house that does not own all by himself and be like, all right, well, come on, guys.
What? I'll show you around. Welcome to
Oh
my
my
crib.
God. Oh, and for just a moment, Jurian starts to say things that are a little bit contradictory to what we're led to believe from him. He starts to show empathy for humans and what they sacrificed to have freedom in the First War. And then Feyre says, be careful. You might start not sounding like the loyal soldier of Hybern. And instead of, like going back on that, he leans into it. And he laughs at the fact that she even thinks that he is. And it makes
Mm.
you as a reader go, aren't you?
Right? Like
What do you
what?
mean?
What?
What do you
Huh?
mean? What do you mean?
What?
And he goes a step further by calling Feyre out for how she's enacting revenge. He uses that word. And that he knows the true nature of Rhysand from him sending the legions to save the humans during the war. Clearly, there is more to Jurian beneath the surface than what we are being led to believe.
Mm-hmm.
I really love the line when Jurian says, oh, I love this. The most powerful High Lord has not come to claim his mate, even when she is defenseless in the woods. Perhaps it is because Rhysand has not lost you at all, but rather unleashed you upon us. And I know you read that portion in the opening, so I rushed through it. But gosh, it's just so powerful. Like, it says so much. You put all three of these moments together with his character, and you go, there's more. There's more.
Yeah. He's smart and he knows how to pay attention. He's been paying nothing but attention for how long? 100 years?
He's
500
really good.
years?
He might be the best.
Yes, Jurian can read a room for sure. um, if yeah, and it also, I think, all of the things that you just talked about, like we know that he's obsessed. His goal is Miriam, but is it deeper than that? Like I'm so intrigued. I'm constantly intrigued by all of these characters and their motivations. Especially when we learn that he must have tried to resurrect Miriam with the cauldron, only to realize she ain't dead. Can't resurrect somebody that's still alive.
Yeah.
So that feeds into the obsession, I'm sure. He wanders off into the spring woods a lot while the
Yes.
twins are at the wall. And, at first I was like, I wonder why. And then I had this thought. Is he trying to find and capture and question a Suriel? Does he want some Suriel hot piping tea to ask where Miriam is?
Ding, 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 ding. That's so
That
smart. Because you're right. I
was like,
noted
what is
that.
he
I'm like, where are
doing?
you going?
Right. And he's a human.
This is when I noted it the most. We just spent what is it? They say like 12 hours walking.
Yeah.
They get to their destination. Everybody chills and sits down. He's like, I'm gonna go for a little stroll.
Uh-huh.
Aren't you tired?
Right. He's a human. Right? He's not like
Yes, he's a human. You don't have
mm-hmm.
all the same immortal strength and endurance that everybody else does. Aren't you tired, Jurian?
Right.
Where are you going, Jurian?
My thought, Suriel. A little bit of Suriel tea. Give me the tea.
Wants
Tell me the
truth.
truth.
Yep. Smart.
I don't know. That was my thought.
It's a good thought. I agree with you as well. Now, our twins. They are also very sus, if you will. Okay.
Mhm.
Niece and nephew to the king. They remind me a little bit of the Lannister twins.
100% incest, anyone? I,
Yeah, I mean it's
that's
alluded
the
to
vibe.
heavily, heavily.
That's the
Feyre,
vibe.
even Feyre says that she could feel Tamlin holding a snicker back when the twins requested one room. I was
Wait,
like, Tamlin giving us the humor I did not expect from him.
right.
They have Daemati powers. They're evil to the core. Like the
Mm,
wretched things that they do to the children of the blessed, they're irredeemable. And the way they leave their remains desecrated without any sense of empathy or respect. And it shows like the putrid nature that runs in their souls.
mhm.
Just
Yeah.
horrible, horrible.
I wrote down this quote. High Fae in appearance, but it was their vacant, unfeeling faces that snagged the eye, a lack of emotion honed from millennia of cruelty.
Mm.
You can just see within them. I mean, I said it earlier, I said it again, 5,000 years old, they say. That's a long time to be
Mm-hmm.
nasty. It's a
Mm-hmm.
long time.
Mm-hmm. They do play a long game too. They've been around enough to play a long game by drugging Feyre.
Mm-hmm.
So
I am glad they're dead, but also I would have been very curious to see, would have been very curious to see the part that they may have played uh, in the war. But it's probably better that they're gone.
yeah.
So.
Now there were some things that maybe didn't quite click that made you go, huh? Where are we going with that? Um, okay. They sealed the doors under the mountain. So you can't access it from the spring court anymore. What's in there? What's
Mm-hmm.
what's still in there? Do they burn it all to the ground? They just leave it as is? Blood stains on the floor? Like, I want to know. I mean, we don't want to revisit it because it's too traumatic, but what's under there? Because it used to be a sacred, wonderful place.
Right.
Just curious. Um, is there a bigger plan for the Fabane? If they're growing it into the food back on the Hybern land, they
Mm-hmm.
must be planning to distribute it in some way, like to other Fae. Is it to force them all to fall in line? Like you give out this produce, you disperse it through the land, they all lose their power. I don't know. It just seems interesting that they.
And a scary thought, bro. I didn't think about that until you like said it, until you wrote it down. I read that last night, putting my notes in, and I was like, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that in the slightest. Like that is
Mm,
a very scary thought. I don't want to know what's gonna happen. I do.
yeah,
We do want to know, but I don't want to know what
it's
they're gonna do
freaky.
with that.
Jurian is sus. We've already talked about that. What's up with him? Why is Ianthe the way she is? If the other priestesses, or if there are other priestesses, Rhysand tells us that are good, what
Mm-hmm.
made her wicked? What's her backstory? I'd like to know a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Will we see Alice again? You know, the last time we brought her up in our pod, we weren't sure that we would. And then we did. And now I'm really unsure if we will again.
I know. I know. I like her.
Because the likelihood we return to the summer court is what less than because of those blood rubies. So I don't know.
Yeah. She's just so cool. I just like her, but
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. I'm glad we got what we got.
Yeah, agree. Now, how do these bonds work, right? Feyre and Rhys can communicate mentally. Wait, is this yours or mine?
These are mine.
This is yours. I'm reading yours. I'm like, wait, I didn't
I
write this.
forgot to italicize. I know. I was like, I'm just gonna see how far she
I'm
gets
like,
in.
huh? Like, wait a minute.
No, these are my questions. So yes, how
Your
do
turn.
bonds work? So Feyre and Rhys, they can communicate mentally. Can everybody with the mating bond do that, or is that specific to them and their powers of like being Daemati? Um, I was curious if the communication was specific to them or if others could do that. Um, Dagden makes a comment and talking about the human queens and said their queens have an even weaker grasp on their people than you do. And I said, huh? What's that mean? That was interesting. Anthy's blue stone. Um, Feyre brings this up, I believe, but I also wanted to know, is it like a siphon? Is it just jewels? Does that girl even have any powers, or is it just her pussy? Like, is that
I don't know.
So I was curious
Good
there.
note.
Since she's still alive, she's not dead, so she'll probably come back, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then I want to bring this up one more time. I'll probably bring it up again because I don't want to forget. Jurian calls Dracon a winged prick. Again, another winged race, because we know that it's not Illyrians. And I just don't want to forget this. I also want to keep it in mind as just like a reminder to why he may then Jurian, why he may then dislike Feyre and Rhys's relationship. He's winged. He didn't steal Feyre, but he did. So he and Tamlin are like kind of these kindred spirits a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose.
All of that, there's a lot of mirroring. There's also not a lot of mirroring. And I continue to bring that up because it just feels important to me.
Yeah.
Maybe as we meet Miriam and Dracon eventually.
Very smart. Now, earlier I said that the word rage is what inspired my portion of our heroine's journey. And these opening chapters of Feyre reminded me of the power of feminine rage, that deep-seated, often suppressed defiance that we as women feel in response to systematic misogyny, structural inequalities, personal violations, the things that so many of us, unfortunately, experience throughout our lives. And Feyre experiences her own raw and cathartic response to what has been done to her and those she loves. And in those moments, she trusts that inner frustrations are a signal that a line has been crossed, and she shows that owning our power, it doesn't always look palatable. That doing the right thing can sometimes require being misunderstood by others and becoming morally gray. Feyre forces us to challenge the idea of goodness, that it is not always clean and quiet, and shows us instead that survival and justice can demand difficult choices. Being righteous in a broken world is not always the available choice. But choosing to embrace that inner rage rather than suppress it helps us all to reclaim, to stop asking for permission or apologizing for what was never our fault, to truly follow our moral compass, even when it is difficult.
Yeah. I am going to bring up the quote one more time. My goal was bigger than revenge, my purpose greater than personal retribution. Think of that for yourself. My goal, our goal, what we want to do in our lives is bigger than the injustices that we can feel, the feminine rage that we can feel. Your purpose is greater than just pushing back against that. Reminding yourself that you can use that to fuel yourself and push yourself forward and become that best version of yourself. Like you just said, following your own moral compass, even when it's difficult, and being who you need to be, even if it's morally gray. Sometimes that's what the world needs. The world is not black and white. This world is gray. Their world, our world, every world.
Now I know we want to keep going. I know you want to turn the page, but we got to close the book on this one.
But hey, every epic needs a cliffhanger, right? So let's savor the suspense.
Remember to like, share, subscribe, and please, please write reviews.
Unless it's bad, just kidding. We'll take those too.
Now, before you remove your bookmark to prepare for next week, we will be going over chapters 11 through the end of 20. And remember that whether you're conquering your own kingdom or just cozying up with a good book, you are the main character of your own epic tale.
Okay, queens, for real now, put the book down, hold your crown high, and we will catch you on the next page. 'Cause it's almost time for me to visit you. I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm so
I
sorry.
just smacked the shit out of your dog.
Luna! Oh, no, I'm so sorry, Luna. Oh,
Hi, doggy.
I just elbow dropped her.
Oh.
She's okay.
Poor
I'm
doggy.
sorry. There's a toddler that lives in our house. She's all right. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
We love our pets.
Down. This might not be a safe place for you to be. At least not today. All right, here we go. All right. I don't know what I'm on right now. I'm sorry. I need to lock in.
I'm here for it. I love it.
All right. And 3, 2, 1.